2021. 2021. We are here. Happy New Year. And welcome. We made it. We're here. 2020 is gone. New beginnings. Sweet. I literally just woke up. Usually wake up like at 4:30ish and have time to kind of compose myself. I wasn't even sure my voice worked. Anyways, we're here. We're good. Hope you guys had a good New Year's Eve. Let's get to work. Where's my button here? Design. Boom. Awesome. Let's see. Oh, got some people chatting already. Let me pop this chat box out so I can see it. Close this up a little bit. Yeah. Congrats on the 1 year of Don's Red Light. Yes, thank you. Justice Beaver's here. Look at that. What's up, Kenny? It's good to see you again. Clay. Tusk Games. All right. Okay, we're going to get right to this. I think that I just got a little bit more to finish on the scroll work. I'm going to go ahead and delete. I don't know why I'm yawning. I'm going to go ahead and delete the under drawing. And I'm going to come in here and try to knock out the rest while my voice kicks in. I'm probably going to go pretty quick on this last part because I want to get it done. I've already spent a good bit of time on this thing. One week down. Yep, sticking it to Barrett. That's right. We're gonna at least do 2 weeks. We're going to at least do 2 weeks of this. I'm gonna have to start going to bed earlier. That's for sure. But my kids are just all over me. That's okay. I may have to start taking some naps during the day. There we go. I enjoyed our conversation we had yesterday. It's quite nice. Was excited about our conversation today. Just going in here and adding the final details to this. Wheezing a little bit this morning, sorry. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but apologies. Oops, that's the erase button. What happened? Oops. How was my New Year's Eve? It was pretty uneventful. I went to bed like at 10:30 because I knew I had to get up for this. Oops. Looking good. It's pretty good by itself. I don't know if you guys had any questions come up while we were parted. Ask away if so. I had really good questions yesterday. Planned out my naps. Wish I could take a nap. This is a the tuck case for our Wizard of Oz deck. That is hopefully March's subscription deck, if all goes well. If I can get it finished. And we're on a good track at least. It's the sooner I get it finished, the less I have to pay in freight. It's either going to be I get it finished in time and get to save a lot of money and send it by sea, or I don't finish it early and spend a lot of money air freighting it. Looking good. This is all good. Let me put one of our little buds. This will be both printing and embossing as well. This design I'm doing here. That's funny. One if by land, two if by sea. I like that. Always like Revolutionary War puns and references. I like the old Ironsides deck. It's got a funny story. I really like that ship. I don't know why I like it so much. I've always had this fascination with the USS Constitution, the ship that is featured on the old Ironsides deck. And the funny story is, my wife and I, I'm glad I remembered, on the 4th will be my wife and I's, I think 18th wedding anniversary. And since we've been married, I have purchased, I think, no less than 3 times a model ship, a model of the USS Constitution that I have begun to build, and then I kind of slow down, and then I end up stop building it, and then we've ended up either moving or something, and during the move, we end up throwing the ship away and it not being finished. And so I have started and stopped like 3 or 4, I can't remember now, 3 or 4 USS Constitution model ships, and my wife gives me a hard time about it. And now it's kind of a joke where she's like, oh, get a USS Constitution model kind of thing, and she's just kind of making fun of me. But all right, whatever. That's all right. Yeah, I am a hobbyist for sure. Uh, I don't know what it is, but I like it. It's fun. Keeps the mind sharp. Control S. Boom. I've been to Boston a few times, but I've never been I've never been on board. I'd like to go. It is the oldest, is the longest in service. No, it's obviously not in battle now, but it is in official service. It's the longest in service naval ship in the world, which I thought was a interesting little trivia fact. All right. I'm very pleased with how this is turning out. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to duplicate this. And then I'm going to rotate it around this center point. Just like this. Then I need to manually kind of line it up here. A little off. I guess when I made this, I didn't make it quite symmetrical. That's okay. Just need to fix some of these areas. This area is a wee bit big for this one. I'm going to move it. I need to shrink it just a little bit to make it fit. Pull it down this way. Push it up there. Good. Then I need to redraw these areas. Control S, my friends. Yes, this design is going to be embossed onto the box. You can be assured that I'm going to enhance the design by embossing it for sure. I think I'm just redraw this whole area. So let's go back. And people, I cannot forget about the tongue. Now, I probably won't do the tongue I know I've got to do it. I keep trying to figure out how I want to do these lives because I have to do the tongue, but I also I don't want to be too I don't want it to get too boring for you peeps. But I keep realizing that some people, this might be their first day watching. And so some of the processes. So let me draw the spines here. I'll probably just mirror this. Let me see here. Let me turn on symmetry. You know what? I don't want to turn on symmetry. It's this just makes my computer run slow, especially with these big tuck cases. Looks like it's already on though. Case, let me copy. Edit, transform, flip vertical. It's not the same. Okay. I appreciate that, fellas. All right. I'm thinking about I don't want to just fill this area with. I need to think about something. I want to do something here that's not just me filling it up. So I'm not trying to procrastinate. Well, I'm procrastinating a little bit, but I want to do something different here than just fill this up with the scroll work. At least I'm going to give it a shot. I don't know what that is. In my head, I'm thinking like some kind of medallion or something. I don't know. We'll see. Just going to thicken this up a little bit. Let's draw our stems for our berries. I like the idea of the silhouettes. I'm doing something, well, I'm doing a big, the diptych joker is going to be a big, well, let me make sure these berries are too big. I'm going to make the berries the same size here. They're about yay big. Okay. Um, I'm gonna do a big diptych painting of like the palace, or I can't think, the Land of Oz in the background, and the Yellow Brick Road, and then the crew running down. So I may or may not do that, but it's a good idea. I like it. That may be what we do. Uh, yeah. I've already started the Joker, but it's just super rough sketch. But yes, uh, I will be working on the Joker during the dawn's early light for sure. Ooh, a balloon. I like that as well. I've been trying to think. Uh, been trying to think about how to utilize a balloon. When I'm usually doing these type of things, I need to go back and do some research of the book, because the book is what I'm basing everything after, and I just have to make sure that I check, because I don't want to do the movie because they've changed a bunch of stuff in the movie from the book, and the movie and such is still copyrighted and protected. And so I want to stay away from the things that they did in the movie. A good example is like the gifts that they gave the characters in the movie are different than the gifts they gave them in the book. Like they gave the Cowardly Lion a courage medal in the movie, but in the book they gave him the Wizard of Oz gave him like a saucepan of some kind of liquid, and the wizard said, "This is liquid courage, drink it." And I usually, when I'm doing this, like when I'm doing these stories, if I'm not as familiar with the story, like I'm not as familiar with the Wizard of Oz story as I have been with others. Let me make sure to check something out here. I'm not as familiar with the Wizard of Oz story as I am with other ones like Beowulf and stuff. I will usually listen to the audiobook. Listen to the audiobook while I'm working. But because I can't listen to music while I'm doing this, I have missed that opportunity. And I listened to most of the audiobook before I started. But I didn't quite finish. I didn't quite get to the end. I got really close to the end. So I need to go. And I only say that just to make sure that I'm accurate. And I say that the thing about the balloon made me think about that. I know they used a balloon in the book, but I just like being sure. Twister. I like a twister. I could do the house. I could do the feet. The Wicked Witch. Not the first witch, where she gets the silver slippers. They're not ruby slippers in the book. See, that's another good one. In the book, they're not ruby slippers. They're silver slippers. And I can't do ruby slippers because ruby slippers that's copyrighted material from the movie. Control S. Control S, people. My computer was acting up yesterday. Getting a little lazy here. I need to sharpen up these corners. Control S. Like I'm being a lot quieter today. I apologize. I'm pretty stoked. Yesterday, I ordered a super sweet Scottish Claymore sword to use as a prop in my photo reference for that deck idea that I was talking about called the Blade. That's based on those 14, like 13th, 14th century, 13th, 14th, 15th century sword fighting texts. I'm pretty stoked about that. I had to buy the sword for science. That is true. I had to buy it for science. I actually will get a lot of use out of it. I get a lot of use out of swords. I've been using a lot of swords for reference, like in the Lord of the Rings stuff, because a lot of the people have swords and blah blah blah. I can't wait to do those. I can't wait to design all the swords for the Lord of the Rings project. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Been excited about doing that. Control S. Thank you. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to you as well. Yeah, I do have that Lord of the Rings. I do have that Lord of the Rings, that dedicated Lord of the Rings Instagram site. I've been neglecting it a little bit just because I haven't been working on it. I definitely will be picking it back up once I start back up again. Starting to fill out my crew here in Cleveland. Super excited about building a new team here. I really like the process of team building and that kind of stuff. Gotten some really solid people. I've hired a gentleman named Michael, who is going to be one of my production guys, production and fulfillment. Super sharp guy. I'm also hired a guy named Jake, who will also be another production guy. And I also, really excited, I hired my new kind of like content creator guy who will be doing all the video and photography. His name is Timothy. He's very talented, for sure. So it's coming together. I have Mariana, who does the marketing and advertising stuffs. Okay. Yes, currently I only have a location in uh, Cleveland and Texas, but I'll be closing up the Austin location probably in April, because that's when we're hoping to have the new Cleveland location up and running. Parker, unfortunately, is not coming to Cleveland, not making the move, and so Parker's transitioning off, and that's why I've hired Tim kind of as Parker's replacement. He'll be missed for sure, and Mariana is kind of replacing Delaney, but Delaney's gonna keep working for me. Delaney is currently on maternity leave, but when she comes back, she's gonna be kind of continuing to work for me remotely, helping Mariana. Oh, and I forgot Steven. Steven, he's actually been with me the longest here in Cleveland. Steven, he is he's doing a new role that I have not had before, and it's been amazing, I think. Steven is basically like my production assistant, and he's helping me manage all of the facets of production, talking to vendors, communicating with vendors, making sure that production's on track with the vendors, this, that, the other. And it's been really nice to not have to worry about that stuff. Just cleaning up some of these edges. Well, if you move to Cleveland, you got a chance. That's one thing that, that's the reason why I'm moving the shop here to Cleveland. I had a great crew. I have a great crew right now in Austin that's done an incredible job. But I work best when I'm part of a team and part of a community. And I did not like. Well, it's not that I didn't like it. I wasn't performing. It wasn't being my best, being 1,000 miles away from my business and the crew and community that I created in Austin. And I think for the long haul, that's just kind of why I'm moving everything to Cleveland, is because I want to be part of it. And also, we're going to start doing a lot more creative stuff that's going to require for me to be all together. We're going to start doing more video production. We're going to have like a fun Kings Wild show, all kinds of stuff. It's going to be really fun. All right, let me look at this. I think we're pretty close. All right, I'm going to Control S. Now, what we're going to do is, I don't want it to be like this, where it's this bright green. I was just drawing it in this bright green just so I could see it. You make sure everything's merged. All right, I got that. I want this layer too. So I got it all in one layer. I feel like that this is a little bit empty up here. I need to do something in this area here. So let's do that right quick. Thank you. Happy morning. And I think Cleveland is like probably like an hour and 45 minutes, I'm guessing, from Gatlinburg, where Dollywood is. I love Dollywood. I love Dolly Parton. She's awesome. Not much room to do very many things down here, but that's okay. We'll do little few blips and blops. I got some good news. I got word yesterday that finally my first ever plastic PVC deck, which is a 2-deck set, a red and a green of the Federal 52 second edition. It has arrived in Austin. It's taken a long time for us to get it, but it is finally here. I ordered this is going to be random. For science, I ordered my new bandsaw blades, and the sandpaper that I'm going to use to cut up to make the strike strips for the new Kingswild Tigers 2 Matchbox, limited edition Matchbox that we will be releasing, hopefully, the second or third week of January. So be on the lookout for that, for sure. I'm just kind of going back and adding stuff where I see things kind of like little holes, I guess you could say. Yes, Control S. Now, make sure everything's on one layer, which it is. And now, I'm going to Gilded Tigers for sure. We'll be making a gilded version of the limited edition Matchbox. All right. So I'm going to select this design. I'm going to make this layer invisible. Make a new layer. And I'm going to select a darker green, like this. And I'm going to fill it. And then I'm going to put that on multiply. Then you can see that the design is darkened. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring back the opacity. Because I want this design to be like it's debossed into the leather. And so not only are we going to emphasize that with ink like we're doing here, we're also going to emphasize that with, a little with embossing as well. Let me open up my brushes here. Let me get the brush that I like to use for this specific task. I always lose it, forget where it's at. Where did you go? I should organize these things. Well, crap. I found it easy yesterday. Come here. Where did you go? Well, crap. Where'd it go? Did I move it? There it is. It was hiding. It was hiding. Probably should put that more. I'm going to select this color here. So, so I'm going to explain to you what I'm doing here. I have this dark green layer, which represents the deboss of the design. And now what I'm going to do is go back and I'm going to paint a highlight layer along the edge to make it pop a little bit more. Kenny Diaz, you ask, remember yesterday you talking about how you don't recommend college for artists, but is there anything you did take away from the experience? Yes. There was one singular thing that I took away from my college experience. And even though I would say that this one lesson that I took away from my college experience was worth the price of tuition for the entire 6 years that I was in college. I've told this story a few times, and I'll tell it again because it's good conversation. So when I was I was a sophomore or junior, I can't really remember. When I was a sophomore or junior, I took a pottery class, like a throwing pottery class where you make vases and stuff on pottery wheels. And in that class, I get to the class, and the first day of class, the professor splits us into two groups. And then after he splits us up, he then sits down at the pottery wheel. And then he throws or spins. It's called throwing, but I'll just say spin. He spins and creates a really beautiful, nothing like too exotic or anything like that, but just a regular traditional vase that was probably, 9-10 inches tall. But he creates a vase on the pottery wheel. It's beautiful. The curves are perfect. All the proportions are really good. Great. But at the same time, very standard, very classic, very traditional. And then he looks at the two groups and he says, okay, I'm going to teach you all the things that you need to do, or the things that you need to know, all the techniques that you need to know to do this. However, Group A, your final grade will be determined by one vase. Your group, your entire grade will be determined by one vase that the entire team turns in. And that one vase, your grade will depend on how close and accurate your vase is to the vase that I just made. You know, in terms of like proportions, scale, all the curves, and all that kind of stuff. And then he looks at Group B and he says, Group B, your entire grade for the semester will be determined on the sheer volume of vases that you turn in. I'm not going to necessarily grade you on if all of the vases that you turn in are exactly like this one, which I want you to use this as your target for what I want you to make all of your vases to look like. But your grade will come from the sheer volume of how many that you turn in. So Group A is turning in one vase that has to be perfect. Group B has to turn in just as many vases as they can. So both groups go off, start learning. He goes back and forth to each group and teaches them the techniques and stuff and everything that they need to know to do it. And then once he kind of teaches us the techniques, he just lets us go. And Group A, the group that was supposed to, turn in one vase, they are striving for perfection. And they're trying to make every aspect perfect. But what they're doing is they're kind of compartmentalizing, and they're just kind of like working on, okay, we're going to work on this one curve and make sure that this curve and this scale, we got to make sure that the first part is right. So they would just practice on that until they got it. And they would get it really close, and they would feel comfortable that they were doing it correctly. And then they would move on to the next step. Okay, we gotta make sure the flare on the top is right. So we will just work on that. And then Group B, the one that was going to be graded just on sheer volume of how many vases they put out, just was going at it. They didn't care. They screwed up a ton. Tons of hundreds and hundreds of vases just looking like crap. Not anything close, all wobbly, all, disproportionate. Curves are no good, the flares are no good, all that kind of stuff. Just all their, just going through them, making tons and tons of vases. And Group A, the one that was being judged by one, they started getting better. Slowly, they started getting better. And Group B, as well, started getting better. And then the end of the semester came, and we had to turn in our vases. Group A had to turn their one, hopefully perfect vase. Work and how I approach my professional life as an artist. So in this case, it was worth that's why I say it was worth the entire cost of admission. So the two groups turn in their vases. The Group A turns in their one vase, and it was really, really good. The vase was, proportionate. It was beautiful, and they had done an incredible job of making one really nice vase. Group B, then we walk over to the multitude of shelves that held all of Group B's vases that they had been making over the course of the semester. And yes, hundreds of vases looked like crap, looked awful. Were nothing like the vase the professor had made. However, as we kept going back to look at all the shelves, you quickly saw that towards the back, towards the end of the semester, you could see shelves and shelves and shelves of hundreds of vases that looked perfect, that looked exactly like the professor's. And I say perfect to make the distinction that there were hundreds of vases that Group B made that looked better than the one vase that was really good that Group A made. And it was basically like hundreds of perfect vases that were exact replicas of the vase that the professor had made. And the lesson that I learned, well, to give you the punchline, I was in Group B, the group that made tons and tons of vases. And the lesson that I learned that was the most important lesson that I've ever learned for execution, then what'll happen is you'll only produce one thing. You won't get the opportunity to produce a lot of stuff. But then you'll also, in the grand scheme of things, in terms of the grand timeline of your life, you won't be as good and you won't develop your skills as much. And so the lesson that I learned was, I gotta stay far away from as I can. I want my work to be good. But my goal, and it's one of the main reasons why I started doing the King's Wild Shorts, because I had all of these ideas of decks of cards that didn't really suit themselves very well to being on Kickstarter, Control S, to being on Kickstarter. But I also had all these ideas that I wanted to just do and execute. And I needed a kind of a framework to be able to do tons of ideas. And that's kind of where the idea of the subscriptions came in, is, it would give me this framework to produce all of these decks. But the main reason why I did it is because I wanted to just churn through as many ideas as I could and as many decks as I could. And I knew that some of them wouldn't be incredible. They wouldn't be the Legal Tenders. They wouldn't be the Robin Hoods, those kinds of things, the Beowulfs, the really good, the ones that I would say, these are my best decks. Not all of them are like that, and that's okay. And not everybody likes them, but at the same time, different people like different things. And so I just wanted to churn through as many ideas as I could, because I'll even show you. Let me see here. I was thinking about this the other night, of how to explain this concept. And I'm going to make a bar graph for you. Okay. Say here's artist. Let me do a different brush here. Okay, here's an artist right here. And this axis is time. And this axis is, we'll call it, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of a conglomeration of skill, proficiency, efficiency, and ability. So we'll just call this, I don't know, we'll just make a star for it. So the star is an artist's ability, skill, execution, how good they are, and how well they can execute their ideas. Because you could be really good and have crappy ideas and not be able to execute them, and it's basically worthless. So it's kind of a combination of like having great ideas and being able to execute those ideas at a high level. If every time you, say in my case, if every time I produce a deck, it goes up. Artistry, yeah, that sounds good. Every time you produce a deck, it goes up. Like this. You know. Like that. So over time, this artist's level of artistry is way up here. Talent, nope, not talent, because talent's a different thing. And that's a different conversation that we can have in just a little bit, because I really don't believe in talent 100%. I'm not going to say general statement all over, but I don't believe in talent. So an artist B, if you have an artist that starts out the same place, we'll say they start at the same place, but they gruel over the making every project that they do perfect, and it takes them a lot longer than they do a project here, and they do the same thing here, like that. They're getting better, and it's kind of like investments, you know. The red line represents, you know, you investing your money in a bank account, savings account, and getting that interest off of that. And the blue line represents, you're investing in high yield investments, whatever. But the whole kind of idea is, the more my philosophy, and these are all my own opinions, the more my philosophy, my approach to my professional work is, the more ideas that I can go through, the better and the quicker I'm going to get in my artistry. And so even though the red artist here is producing incredible stuff, whatever I don't know if that's what this means, but like, I want it to be where even on the days where I produce a bad deck, and we'll say these dips represent, either a not well executed idea, or a not as impactful idea, or a not as great of an idea, or whatever. Just the drops in the graph are just like the not as successful projects. What I want to be is, even when I have a non-successful project right here, I want it to be, because my level of artistry has been growing faster, that my kind of okay decks are even still way higher than this artist's best deck. I don't know if that makes sense. And I don't want it to sound like my sole goal is competition with other artists. It's more competition with myself. But in the end, what I do is a business, and I am highly competitive. And because what I do is a business, it does matter on how my level of artistry and ability compares to other artists, because ultimately, you as a customer have to decide. You can't buy everything. And, and it's not just you deciding to buy my decks over artist B's decks or whatever. It's like, you as a customer, I've got to convince you that you want to buy my deck of cards over everything else. Like, you want to buy my deck of cards over a cup of coffee. You want to you want to buy my decks of cards. You buy my cards over whatever else. And the only way that I'm going to get you to choose to buy my decks over other things in your life is if my level of artistry is at the highest level I can make it. And that's the business side of it, but just a personal side, the personal side, even if I didn't have it as a business, if you're an artist, an aspiring artist, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't have a business. That's okay. Even if I wasn't selling my decks, whatever I was doing, I would want to just that's the best way to make yourself better. That's the best way to hone your skills. In my opinion, it's the best way to hone your skills and to make yourself better the fastest, is doing it with that approach. So the long answer to your question of did I get anything out of college? Yes, I did get. I got one of, if not the most important life lesson that I've ever learned in life from college. Now, the rest of my college career was like the training in the actual art and the execution of art that I learned in college was worthless. I didn't learn anything. I didn't really learn anything that I either didn't already know or it just wasn't. It was just worthless because it was all things that I could have taught myself, because everything I know professionally now, like with Photoshop and Illustrator and business, is all stuff that I self-taught myself by watching, either tutorial videos or just through practice and that kind of thing. So Control S. Thank you, Kenny. So there's a long-winded answer, but that's good. That's the kind of stuff I like to get on a tangent about and talk for about 15 minutes because it keeps my mind going while I'm working. NC Fish On, what's up? Good to see you again. But a great question. Who's going to come up with the next question? Now I'm all excited because I had something to talk about. So as you can see, what I'm doing is I'm embellishing that design, which will be debossed, by adding this kind of highlight layer on the edge of what the debossing layer where it would be pushing into the leather. Because if you have a deboss, if you have an embossing or a debossing of any kind of material, you're going to have the rim light, the light catching the edge, and that's kind of what I'm painting in right here, is that light catching the edge of this debossed layer. And then I'll go back and add like scratches, like this, scratches into there. I probably should just do that as I'm doing it. Probably a lot easier. Adding the scratches and the wear marks. What is a deck that you feel didn't come out the way you'd hoped? That's a good question. I was actually thinking about that last night. It's not so much that it didn't come out the way that I'd hoped, because there's not really that many decks that I don't like that I've made. I like most of them. I think the thing that I don't like is just that the idea. It's more kind of, what decks do I feel like the idea wasn't quite executed the way as well as I could have executed. And I think that I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of what I think, because I like most of my decks. I think the one that I was thinking about last night was, and this was more of a fact of I wasn't very good at it. When I bought a Heidelberg printing press, and I had the grand idea that I was going to learn how to letterpress and letterpress my own tuck cases, the same way like Clove Street Press does. And during that time, I created two or three tuck cases that I letterpressed myself, and they would be the Verum Videre. I can't remember what it was called, but it was a Verum Videre. It had the die-cut hole, the triangle. The Federal 52 second edition, letterpress edition, and then the Flywheels deck. And for me, I think that that Federal 52 second edition, letterpress edition, was one of those kind of like projects that I didn't think was executed very well. The tuck case, the deck itself was fine because it was just the Federal 52 second edition, and it was, the execution of that was okay. It was good. I was happy with the execution of the actual deck, but it was the tuck case itself for that second edition letterpress edition that had like this overwrapping sleeve. And it was that overwrapping sleeve that my limited knowledge and expertise and experience with the actual art of letterpressing was such that I feel like I didn't do a good enough job like I should have executing that tuck case. And so I've been kind of, looking back at that experience, and that is definitely one of those moments where I think like, this is one of those that I'm learning. And I quickly learned that, let me take a drink of water. I learned very quickly that my time is going to be better spent drawing. That's where my strength is. My strength, and I don't have the time. I don't have the time, which I wanted to, but I didn't have the time or the drive or inspiration to take the time to actually learn the actual physical skills I needed and the technical expertise that I needed to be proficient enough at letterpress to be as good as, say, like Clove Street Press or Studio on Fire, that kind of thing. And so I quickly learned this is not what I need to be doing. I need to be staying where my strengths are, and my strengths are in the drawing. So I sold my letterpress, and I let other people make my tuck cases because I know my strength comes from drawing, not the actual execution. And I think that's I think I did 50 or 75. I can't remember. I have learned, it's taken me a while because, I'm kind of one of those people that wants to have my hands in a little bit of everything that I'm doing. AKA micromanager kind of thing, especially when it comes to my products and my art. But I learned very quickly that my time is most well spent. And, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I make the most money when I'm drawing playing cards. I do not make the most money when I'm trying to make tuck cases myself, letterpressing tuck cases myself. I do not make the most money. I do not make the most money when I am packing packages. I don't make the most money when I'm replying to emails. And unfortunately, that's probably one of the reasons why I don't reply to emails very well, is because I'm not very good at it. I'm not very organized anyways. And I'm not saying that those things are not important, because they're very important. Packaging packages is very important. Packaging packages is just as important as me drawing, because if I spend hundreds of hours on designing a deck and then do a crappy job of packing it, then all of that work that I did designing it is basically worthless, because then the customer doesn't get the product in a way that they're supposed to. But I learned that I needed to let other people do the things, not that I wasn't good at, but that is part of it. But I need to be striving as a business owner and also as an artist. My daily strive should be towards doing what makes me the most money. And on top of that, doing what I love to do the most. I live and breathe drawing. And it just so happens that I live and breathe designing playing cards. I couldn't see myself doing anything else. I don't love anything else more to do with my time besides like family, with my wife and my kids. There's nothing I love to do more with my time than drawing. I'd rather sit here and draw this tuck case than go on vacation. So it's not work to me. While it is tiring and it is taxing, but I love this more than as much as I love breathing. And so my constant striving is to figure out how to do this more hours of the day. And it just so happens that I make more money when I'm sitting behind a computer or on a piece of paper and I'm drawing. I make more money doing this than I do if I was spending my time, replying to emails or packaging packages. And so my strive of hiring people, hiring a crew is the main focus is, and I know it probably sounds selfish, but I think it's a good lesson to learn, especially if you're someone that's trying to, an entrepreneur that's trying to start a business or something like that. Yes, there's going to be a moment where you're going to have to wear lots of hats in the beginning because you just don't have. I had to do that in the beginning for 4 or 5 years. Kings Wild was just me in my garage, and I would draw and I would ship out packages in my garage and that kind of thing. But then go back to that bar graph that we showed a little bit ago, as my level of artistry went up and my level of execution and efficiency went up, it allowed me to make more money, and the making more money allowed me to be able to hire other people to do the things that are not my strength and that are not what I make the most money doing. And then at that point, it's allowed us to have, good, healthy growth because I'm doing what I'm the best at. Well, the best in my, the best at me. I'm doing what I love to do the most. And then I'm getting other people the, jobs and I'm having other people do the things that I don't do the best and I don't make the most money on. I don't know if that makes sense, all of that, but that was that. Let's see. Frank, as a collector, I was wondering what the story was on the homebrew letter pressing. This is exactly what I figured the backstory was. Got to pick one. It's creative battles. Yes. But, at the same time, in terms of, I'm totally going to sell that deck. Like, even though it's a deck that I may not like as much, and I'm not saying this to try to make you go buy the deck because I don't even sell the deck anymore. But as a card collector, if we kind of talked about this later. We talked about this yesterday about, picking a focus as a card collector, picking a focus for your collection. And so, like, if your focus is, okay, I want to buy all of King's Wild decks, which I would love for that to be your focus. That'd be awesome. If your focus is to get all of the King's Wild decks, or not even all the King's Wild decks, but to collect King's Wild decks that have interesting stories in the kind of like timeline of King's Wild as a brand, or you following me as an artist, that's a good deck to have because I think it's an important deck in the kind of like timeline of me developing as an artist because I went through, it was a really interesting phase. That was like in 2000, I can't remember what year it was, but that was in a very pivotal time in my life because, in 2016, 2017, I was going through some really deep depression with some personal stuff that was going on in my life, and I was contemplating, quitting designing playing cards, and I was desperately, one of the reasons why I bought that letterpress was me just like desperately trying to find a way to like do something new, how to make designing playing cards fresh and new for myself, because it wasn't that I had fallen out of love with playing cards. The reality is, at the time, just to give you some, to get on a personal level, like in 2016, about 5 years ago, and, I don't want to say ironically, but today is the actual anniversary. 5 years ago, my wife and I lost a daughter named Hannah, and she was born and she had kind of a chromosomal defect, and we lost her on January 1st, 5 years ago. And so, and during that subsequent following year, my wife and I went through a huge depression, and it ended up being like, the worst year ever in terms of like revenue for Kings Wild. And I wasn't producing anything new. I was having a really hard time fighting depression. And then fighting through that depression, I was having a hard time being creative and producing work. And subsequently, that led to, my business suffering, because if I'm not producing decks of cards, then my business is going to suffer. And so that's what happened. And it got to a point over the next couple of years, I really struggled that for a couple of years until 2018. And my wife and I was contemplating, I was like, man, I started thinking to myself in the early 2018, I was just like, man, maybe I should find a job. Maybe I should get a design job or a illustration job. I was contemplating stopping designing playing cards just because of everything that was going on. And I really hadn't worked through it all to figure out how to kind of get through that depression. And my wife sat me down and she was just like, listen, Jackson, you've got to figure out how to reinvent. I should back up a little bit. I've got this thing that my wife and I joke about and we kind of played at it a little bit earlier when somebody said I was a hobbyist, and I said I'm absolutely a hobbyist. There's this thing where I have we call it the 3-year itch. My wife and I, we joke about it. We call it the 3-year itch. And like every 3 years, without fail, every 2.5 to 3 years, I want to do something brand new. And when I mean brand new, it's kind of like I basically want to hit the reset button and do something completely different professionally. And up until Kings Wild, that's been true. I was a video guy. I was a video game artist. I was an illustrator. And it was like clockwork where every 3 years I wanted to hit the reset button. And a lot of it came from me wanting to keep things fresh and new, and for me not to get, physically and intellectually bored with what I was doing, whatever, I don't know. But the depression that I was, we were going through with the loss of our daughter Hannah, coupled with the fact that it was right about the same time as that 3-year itch it was all the kind of culmination of all this different stuff coming together. And it was in 2018 when all that stuff was kind of coming together. And then my wife she sat me down and she was like, listen, you have got to figure out how to reinvent yourself so that you can, and we've gotten to the point in our marriage to where, in the beginning we really fought, I felt like I needed to fight that 3-year itch kind of thing. Cause it was like, cause you're taught, find a job, keep it, stick at it, that kind of thing. But I kept coming back to that lesson that I learned in college, where it was just like, I got to churn through the ideas. And I really amplified that concept all over my life. And even to the point of doing different things professionally just to learn new things, learn new things and to try new things, to get better, just to make my bar graph of my life and experiences go up. And that's another reason why that scripture verse that I put on all of my decks, it's not an overtly, traditional scripture verse, but it says, make it your ambition to lead a quiet life and work with your hands and mind your own business so that your daily life can win the respect of outsiders. And then the last part of that was so that you can be dependent on no one. And that, that really that really struck a chord with me in the sense that I wanted to teach myself things and learn things so that I didn't have to be dependent on anybody, and that I could also, going back to that bar graph that I drew a little bit earlier, explaining that lesson that I learned at college, so that I could make that bar graph go up higher, faster, so that I could have tons of different life experiences and learn different things that would just make my artistry in life, I guess you could say, better, quicker. And then so after my wife set me down and said, you got to figure out how to reinvent yourself, or you're going to need to do something else, because my wife knows that if I'm not doing something and keeping it fresh, she knows that I'm not a very, that's going to take a toll on our marriage, and that's going to take a toll on our kids, our relationship with our kids. And so when she said like, you got to figure out how to reinvent yourself in this market that is playing cards, because in a way, I didn't create the luxury playing card market. It had already existed before I came around. But like the Federal 52, the original Federal 52 was, like before that, there were custom playing cards on Kickstarter and in the market. But that really ushered in this huge wave of new designers and new playing cards, which I think is great. People always say, oh, there's too many playing cards out there. There are a lot of playing cards out there, but I like that. I want there to be more playing cards. It's more competition, and it's more interesting. And the competitive person in me, it's more interesting when there's more designs, because then you have to push yourself even harder to stand out from all those. But anyways, that's a rabbit hole I don't want to get on. And so the reinventing is what, when my wife had that conversation, that's what led us to come up with the idea of the playing card subscriptions. Because I was like, okay, how can I do more decks? Not from a standpoint of how can I make more decks to make more money. It was more of a how can I do more designs? How can I pump out more ideas to get better? And we thought that, and because my whole business is based around me utilizing what I love to do, which is drawing, and how do I turn that love and passion into a profession? And we just like, okay, how do we scale that up? And how do we do that more? And that's what led us to the idea of, well, let's do a playing card subscription, because, if we do a playing card subscription, then I'm going to have to do a bunch of ideas, because I'm going to have to do one every month. And that's what kind of led us to that. And it's through that depression and through that kind of like experience, and going back to that bar graph that we were talking about earlier, it's through that experience and through that low point, and it's going through the tuck cases, or the Federal 52 letterpress tuck cases that I don't like very much. It's going through those experiences that what ultimately led to what I think has been the biggest development and breakthrough for me in terms of my art and my brand, and just the life of my business. Because when we started doing the subscriptions, it really kind of, it poured gasoline on the growth of my business. And so it was through that really low point that came that great growth. Oh, that was a long answer, but that was my answer. Let's see. Just a side note, I saw, like 2355 C-Dub, you're talking about you want to collect CJ Rex, talking about you want to collect King's Wild decks, the Crazy Eights decks. We've got the standard edition and the limited edition. The Crazy Eight decks were in honor of my daughter Hannah that we lost. And if you look at the side of the tuck case on the limited edition, you'll see a little pink balloon. And that pink balloon represents Hannah. I drew this image for my wife of a pink balloon. My wife wanted something to remember, just for us to remember the experience of that whole thing. And so I drew her this picture of this pink balloon, and it has like scroll work around it. We have it in our living room on our mantle. But that pink balloon that's on the side of the Crazy Eights deck, that is that is representation of Hannah, the daughter that we lost. So, going back to important decks in a King's Wild collection, I feel like that's one of the most important because because I designed decks for all my other daughters and my wife and my mother. In the premium Tally Ho series, the Emerald Tally Ho is for Claire. That's her birthstone. The Scarlet Tally Ho is much easier to see that's for my daughter named Scarlet. The Pearl Tally Ho is for my mother because the pearl is her birthstone. And then Control S. Then the Black Diamond Tally Ho is for my wife. That's her birthstone, the diamond. But I wanted to make a deck to represent Hannah, but I didn't really want it to be in that Tally Ho series. I wanted it to be a little bit different. And so that's what led to the creation of the Crazy Eights. That was the deck that was representative of Hannah, and that's why it's got a pink balloon. So I say that in terms of if you want to collect important King's Wild decks, try to get both of those. The standard Crazy Eights are a little bit easier to get, but also the limited edition too, because that's the one that has the yellow. The limited edition has the one that's the one that has the pink balloon on the side. The standard doesn't have that. Let's see, Sebastian. 1 second, I'm going to go pour myself some more coffee right quick. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Let's see. Sebastian asks, what inspired you to make this deck of cards? Well, this whole, I've been wanting to do these literature decks. Let me just zoom out. See, now you can kind of see how it's coming together, and it's looking really nice. Let me just finish this one down here, and see, I love talking because, see, look at that. I spent all that time talking and finished all of this kind of like outlining work, which I think is good. But what inspired me to do this deck is I love literature. I love stories. I love fantasy. I love literature, and I love storytelling. And I've been wanting to do just a series of decks based on like classic public domain literature. And this just happens to be one of those stories that has lots of good characters, because that's really important to designing decks of cards, is having characters to do. Okay, I'm gonna rotate this. I'm gonna have to play with it to get it all matched up. I'm gonna pick one. So I'm gonna match this bottom piece up. I can go ahead and erase this because I'm gonna have to redo that. Okay. Redo this area here. Erase this. Now we're going to take this because I had to change this one a little bit. Let's see if I can match this up here. Well, that doesn't help me. Sorry. Concentrating. Well, I'll try to match this up because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to draw it again. It's not really close. Let me see here. That's pretty close. Crap. Getting closer. Getting closer. Let's see how that looks. Nope. All right. I'm just going to have to draw that again. Well, let me give it one more shot. I just don't like that it shows the marching ants. And if I hide it, I can't see my bounding box. Okay, there we go. Yes, that works. Let me just come in here and redraw this part because I changed that when I flipped it. Okay, good. You come in here. Have I thought about doing a steamboat deck? Yes, I have thought about doing a steamboat deck. However, I probably won't, only because Dan and Dave have done a steamboat, kind of a revived steamboat deck. And also, the United States Playing Card Company still owns that copyright. And I don't want to have to mess with that. So I probably won't. If I did a steamboat, it would be some kind of like revamp, I guess you could say. And I don't even know if it'd be called steamboat or not. Am I still planning on doing a special brick box for the literature decks? Yes. I've already started talking and finding, but we're going to try to make a really nice slip case like you kind of see. Let me see. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's see. Wooden book slip case. Let's see if that gets me something. All right. So like this right here, this picture of this kind of like wooden slip case that these things are sliding into. We're trying to do, here's a good example. So you got these books inside this wooden slip case. We're hoping to do a black walnut slip case that's like this, where you could replace these books that are in this image as the book boxes. So that holds all 12 of the book boxes. That's what we're trying to do, and that won't be till probably the end of next year that we have that. Will there be a Kickstarter for me this year? Yes, there will be Kickstarters for me this year. I will be doing the Lord of the Rings Kickstarter this year. Hopefully that's going to be around May or sometime, late spring, early summer. I've heard you talk about working a Marvel multiple times. What did you do there? I didn't work for Marvel. I just worked for an illustration studio that we did work for Marvel and Hasbro games. So like this is my old illustration portfolio website when I was like an illustrator, 3D guy. This is a samurai guy I made in 3D. This is a samurai sword I did in 3D. But there's also like, this is the Tonka truck logo that I did in Photoshop. So these are some of the things that I did as an illustrator when I was just doing illustration. Did some stuff for Corona. But the Marvel stuff like this, these little Marvel superhero squads, I would draw these little images. I did like hundreds of these. Like here's Dr. Doom. So I would draw this image of Dr. Doom here, and it went on the little case, the toy case. So I did lots of stuff for Marvel, lots of stuff for Star Wars. Do I have it in here? Let's see here. Look at this. So this is a picture that went on a back of a Hasbro Star Wars toy as one of the rebel troopers, and I took my own picture as reference that I painted. So I'm this rebel trooper on the back of this toy package. I always love that. Did some like Transformer stuff in 3D and painted over the 3D. There's some like lightsaber stuff that I did. This beast character. So this is the kind of stuff that I did for Marvel. These fun, whimsical. Yes. Yep. One Lung Lewis. That's my site. My old site. But that's the kind of stuff I did for Marvel. And I did more like this same kind of stuff for Star Wars, for their superhero squad. I did some stuff for Borderlands. When I worked in the video game industry. I made some like billboards and stuff for Borderlands that they used in the games. I think they put these on like there's like Coke machines or something in the game. I can't remember. But I did these, and they would put them on all these Coke machines in the game. This was the game that I worked on called Sorcery. I did all the character work and stuff for these. And here's some of the 3D characters that I made for those games. These are called bogies. Kind of a Treebeard character. But you can look at that. There's the Boba Fett's slave ship that I did. You got the snow speeders, TIE fighters, whatever. That's the kind of stuff I did. All right. Get back to it. I'm almost finished with this. I may do some kind of stitching. I haven't decided. I've done stitching on both the Beowulf tuck case and also the Robin Hood tuck case, and it's turned out really nice. I like it. I may just do some stitching on this border area, but I want to make it different than just the single stitch like I've done in Beowulf and Robin Hood. So we'll probably, after I'm finished with this part, I'll probably experiment with that. The special brick box for the literature decks, will they all be standard versions of the decks? In my head, the wooden slipcase will be for the gilded editions that come in the big book boxes. Now, we'll probably also make a wooden slipcase that's smaller that fits all the standard decks and limited edition decks, so more standard size playing cards. So, yeah, a little bit of both, I hope. Okay. All right, Control S. Take a drink of coffee. Any interest in designing space, retro, sci-fi? Absolutely. I actually been trying to get. I just haven't had the time to do it. But I've talked to NASA before years ago, and since then they've kind of changed. They've actually gotten easier, easier. They've gotten easier on their licensing. But I've wanted to do like a space race deck where it's like a vintage 1960s vibe, and have like a Russian deck, a Russian cosmonaut deck, and an American space deck. Even though they're easier, they've laxed up on their licensing and how they do that. There is still some murky water when it comes to like, representing people and likenesses of people. Even though most of those people are, probably considered public figures, you just kind of, it's always kind of weird. But I've also had the idea of doing a deck that's more centered around like the mission patches and doing like court cards. Yeah. Yeah, I knew that. That's kind of where that kind of idea of that's where I kind of got hung up as well, as having to go through the rigmarole of the individual astronauts. And that's kind of what led me to the idea of, okay, if I don't do that, how can I still do that concept but do it in a more generalized manner of like, and that's kind of where I came up with the idea of doing a deck of cards that all of the court cards look like mission patches. So more standard style cards maybe, but they all look like mission patches. And I'm also saying that so that anybody, now all of you have heard it, if you ever see somebody doing a deck that looks like mission patches. But half of business is getting to the market first, so I just need to get to the market first. But that's one idea that I've had. Is there any chance to get the Kenneth Wayne Preston decks afterwards? Watch the stream 18 hours, but those were sold when I was sleeping thanks to the European time difference. Well, sorry, I don't know because I don't like that guy. He's mean. I do think there are the standard edition. Kenneth Wayne Preston was only offering those decks during that 1 hour. But I do think, I was talking to the Decking Around guys. I'm not really sure what Kenneth Wayne Preston's doing, but I was talking about the Decking Around guys, and they said, I think they are going to print some extra of those, and they're going to have some to sell, and also I think they're going to do a lot of giveaways next year, and they're going to have some of those to do as giveaways. But there'll probably be a way for you to get those next soon. I don't know, though. Like I said, I don't know. Because I try to not talk to that guy because he's kind of a jerk. Okay, so let me just bring this up so we can all see it. This has really turned out really nice. So what I'm going to do now is, like I said, I'm going to just experiment right quick with possibly doing stitch work along the border. Let's see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a debossed channel where the stitching will go. You know what? I'm probably just going to freehand this. So I'm going to Control S before I start doing this. I'm going to make a new layer. Okay. I need my brush. We're going to go with a normal brush here. Okay. So I'm going to go from here just going to sketch it in first. You know what I'm going to do? This would be a good opportunity for me to use the symmetry tool. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So we'll go horizontal symmetry. Yes. However, that's not in the center at all. So I need to change that. Need to come down. Just kind of having to eyeball it. Let's see if that's close. Yep, that works. Okay, I've got it sketched in. I'll do it over here as well. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. Like that. I can round off the corners in a little bit. So what I'm doing now is I'm creating kind of that similar thing where I have this debossed area. And my thinking is inside this area, there will be stitching to keep that leather on there. Maybe it'll be like gold stitching. Ooh, I like that. Or maybe, I think it would be good, maybe not stitching, but we do like a little pinstripe of gold foil like we did on the Beowulf deck tuck case. That way the standard deck can still have a little bit of bling on it. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I do think that it'll be nice to have that little gold foil pinstripe around everything. All right, I'm going to round these corners off because if this was real leather, they wouldn't have sharp corners like that. Good. Just check everywhere. Okay. Control S. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my opacity down. How did I learn lettering? Just kind of taught myself. Looked at a lot of lettering. Drew lots of lettering. That's kind of how I did it. So I'm going to do the same thing we've been doing. I'm going to now go back. What I'm going to do first, though, this is a pretty hard edge line. I'm going to go in and blur it just a little bit. This little embossing thing that I did is pretty hard edged. I'm going to go and soften it just a bit because if this was leather, it wouldn't have a sharp edge. It would still be kind of rounded edge because of the nature of the leather. And so now what I'm going to do is zoom out. Now I'm going to paint that slight edge. Got symmetry still turned on. So I just need to be aware of that. This corner is going to get a lot more wear, so I'm going to paint more of this out on this corner. Like that. Looking good. Same thing with this corner. The corner's going to get more wear. There we go. Have I ever thought about making a deck of cards with the UV effect? Yes, I have. I'm currently developing a edition of the Legal Tender that has just that, where, like on currency, you've got those kind of like hidden, like watermarks and stuff like that. So where in the background of all the cards or the court cards, you'll see, if you shine a UV light on it, you'll see like a big portrait of the president. And also, like, I was also thinking about doing, you see their portrait and then you see their signature as well. So like Ben Franklin's signature, like really big, kind of on the court card. So yes, I have been thinking about that. I've done a Chinese deck for Legal Tender. I am thinking about doing a new version of the Chinese deck with all the new holographic foil stuff, because it would look awesome, I think. Just because of all the colors and stuff that are in the Chinese currency deck. I'm going to turn off symmetry right quick just to make some of this not so symmetrical. I feel like a little bit of this is a little bit heavy-handed. I need to go back and erase some of this. Yeah, the jokers of the Great Wall of China would look sweet. Okay, Control S. So I've got my little channel. So I'm going to do two things. I'll wait to do... I originally thought about doing stitching in here. I thought about doing stitching here originally, but I know that the gold foil is going to look better having a gold foil pinstripe around this. So I'm just going to not do the stitching because I know that I'm going to end up liking the gold foil better. So I'm just going to pick a gold color just to kind of give it representation for myself. I'm going to make a new layer on top. I'm going to color that layer yellow just so I know that it's gold foil. And this will help me later and also help the manufacturers to know that this is the gold foil layer. Okay. which version of the Federal 52 deck is coming in the subscription. Is it the original with the large number 52 or the second edition? The decks that are coming within the subscription are the original Federal 52. So the original Federal 52, the original gold certificate, and the original silver certificate, the original white reserve note, the original black reserve note. Now, the artwork, most of the artwork, for the most part, is staying the same. However, I did update the coloring a little bit, and also the tuck cases are going to be very different. I'm trying to take I'm doing kind of a new approach on the tuck cases themselves. But in terms of the artwork, it's the original. So I'm going to make this pinstripe, gold foil pinstripe. And so in your head, imagine this all being gold foil, this little pinstripe. I don't want it to be perfect. I could easily make this in Illustrator, this line. But I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to kind of have some irregularities because I want it to feel old and like, I want it to feel handmade. Oh, yeah, it's off, isn't it? I blew it. Let me see here. Good catch. I'm just going to have to draw it because I'm too lazy to spend the time to find my actual center line, which this should have been in the center anyways, but I was too excited about the lives and I didn't center everything up. I'm having trouble doing this here. Probably a lot of you guys like, those aren't straight. Yep, I know. Kind of like it that way. Now, one thing I'm going to do is, once I get it roughed in, I'm going to go back. At the very end, well, not the very end, I'm pretty close to the end of this tuck case. So what I'm going to do now is, just to add a little bit of uniqueness and flair and also age, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to add some like what I call hero scratches, I guess you could say. Let me just find my brush that I always misplace. Where's it at? Number 4. Where are you at? There you are. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to put some hero scratches in. And all I mean is just like some very prominent scratches. So like I'll take this scratch right here. Let me get a lighter color. I'm going to extend that scratch to this bottom layer. It's like something, you know, something gouged it. Tuck flap is feeling lonely. It is. It always does. It always does. So I put a scratch, and then I can continue that scratch over here as if it got, you know, something got scratched. And then what I'm going to do here on the gold foil layer, I will continue that scratch as if the gold foil right here got messed up or scratched off. Kind of like that. And so there'll be a gap in the gold foil. I'm going to do that over here. Control S that gold foil. Okay. Good. Do the same thing here. Erase. Let's do one more. Everything is better in odd numbers, at least visually. Control S. Control S. What? Go away. There. Now we just got some little blips and bloops. Okay, fine. Tongue flap. I'll do the gold foil layer. I hear you whining over here, tongue flap. Notice how I didn't make these the same thickness. These channels into the same thickness. That's okay. I'm going to just do this. Unk. Unk. Oh, that looks awful. trying to fight the urge to make these perfectly straight. I don't want them to be perfectly straight. So I'm just looking at where there's already some scratches in the texture. I'm just kind of embellishing those a little bit. Okay. Control S. Okay, let me look at this. I have nothing. Let's see. I know. Let me see here. I'm just trying to think. What was I going to do? Feeling pretty good about this. What time is it? 7:15. I'm just looking at it, just seeing if I see anything off. I really like this a lot. This has turned out really nice. Okay. Everything looks pretty good. I want to try one. I don't want to do that. No, not yet. Okay. I think I'm good for this right now. I need to put the add copy and stuff on the bottom. And I need to figure out what I'm going to do for the tongue flap. But I think we'll do that on Monday. So I'm going to control save this. All right. Let's see here. So I'll tell you a few things that I had thought about working on a little bit, starting on, change gears a little bit. I can, and I'll let you guys let me know. I can work on, let's see here. I can work on that jerk, Kenneth Wayne Preston. That jerk, he asked me to help him with his deck a little bit. So I can work on the Kenneth Wayne Preston deck. I can show you what I've been doing. I've made the index cards here. The index cards, the pips. I haven't done these yet. Let's see. Haven't done the diamonds yet. I've done the spades. And look at these core cards. Bam. Look at that. Oh, come back. Come on. Look at that bad boy. But you can't tell anybody. You can't tell anybody that I'm helping Kenneth Wayne Preston with this deck. So there's a king, there's a queen. Look at that jack. Here's what I'll do. Let's do this. We'll do a nice mundane task. So I'll do the index cards for this club suit. So what I'm going to do is take this club pip that I've made. Well, I'm going to do the spades here. Let's open up the 10 of spades. Let's pull this club pip over here, and I'll show you how. I'll show how I do index cards. Oh, do you want to see the Ace of Hearts? Look at this. Look at the Ace of Hearts card. Where are you at? Hearts. Look at this. That's the Ace of Hearts. Bethany forever. Oh, I love it. It's so fun. Okay. So I'm going to open up, put the spades. This won't take very long. And it's something interesting and different. That's a big part of playing card design. So I'm just going to match up the height of this club with this spade. Okay. Now I'm going to match up the stems here, or whatever you want to call it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate it down, select these both. I'm going to reflect them off the center line, copy, and then I'm going to pull a second one to the middle, then bring it down, match it up. Now I've got the clubs in the appropriate spot. Now what I'm going to do is rotate off the center axis point 180 degrees. I've got my 10 spot. Now I'm going to take the club here. I'm going to scale it down to the height of this index pip. Match up the stems. Boom. Control 0. Now I can turn off the spades. Going to rotate this around the center as well. I'm going to grab my index things, merge those, copy. I'm going to open up my clubs. I'm going to make all of my club index cards visible, and I'm going to delete everything on them because those were my standard core card pips. It's funny. Kenneth, I worked on a game called Pwned when I was in the video game world. And when we were developing the game Pwned, let me see. Let's see if it, I don't know if but one of the lead characters, his lead characters is very much like Kenneth. And I did the voiceover work for the character in the video game. He's very crazy. So I'm going to go through each one of these cards, and I'm going to paste the index pips on there. And then now I'm going to go to the spades, and I'm going to grab the indexes themselves, the ace, copy, and just work my way through. Paste it, ace, copy, make that go to the 2, 2, copy, paste, make that invisible, 3, copy, paste, make that invisible. 4, copy, paste. 5, copy, paste. 6, copy, 7, copy. Oh, it's no joke, bro. The Kenneth Wayne Preston deck is totally happening. 8, 9. Click buy and then ask questions later. I like that mentality. I like it. I support this ad. 10. Jack. Nothing about Kenneth is a joke. That is for sure. He is all serious. You like the color scheme too? The pink, the blue, the red. It's delicious. Oh, I need to delete these indexes as well. Grab that stuff. Oops. It's connected. Okay. Let's go back to the Jack. Paste. Queen. Copy. Paste. Thanks. I got to go back and put the sunglasses on these peeps. So we'll do that after I do the, look at that guy. Look at that amazing sunglasses. Those are awesome. Okay, now let me go back to the 10 spot here. Grab the index pip and put those on the quartz. I'll probably have myself and Decking Around will probably have some extra of the Kenneth Wayne Preston decks only because we're not going to print. Like, I think 64 people ordered one or some. And I'm not going to just print 64 because that would be stupid because then I would not make enough and something would happen. So we'll probably make like 100 or so. So we'll probably have a few that we can, we'll probably get rid of somehow or sell. I'm going to copy the 10 of clubs, these spades that the clubs that I put together. I'm going to go to the 10 of clubs, make it visible, boom, done. That card is finished. I'm going to go to the 9 of clubs, paste, delete, center it up, boom, 9 of clubs, done. 8 of clubs, paste, delete these two, grab those two, center them up, done. I'm going to select these 8 of clubs, copy, 7 of clubs, boom, delete one, done. 6 of clubs, delete 2, done. 5 of clubs, delete 3. Grab this one, center the puppy up, boom, select the 5 of clubs, copy. 4 of clubs, delete 1. 3 of clubs, copy, paste, delete 2, center these up, gow. 2 of clubs, paste, delete trace, center them up, ace of clubs, delete all of them. Open up the hearts because I'm going to make the spades. I'm going to make the aces big. Open up the hearts. I'm going to take this. I'm going to paste it on top of this heart. Size it up the same way. Like that. Now cut. Paste. done. Control S. Now I'm going to put the indexes on the court cards or the pips. Right there. Let's see if we can get lucky. Copy. Just move it over a little bit. I need to clean this file up. This file runs slow for some reason. All right. Let me zoom in just a little bit here. I'm going to rotate this around the axis. Let's select both of those. Merge. Center them up. Copy. Let's see how that lands. Not as well as I'd like. Let's go in here and move it up right about there. Well, makes a nasty tangent with that flower. Oh, buying a brick of those Dundrees was not a mistake, I promise you. Oh my goodness. I got to clean this file up. It is dogging. It's a very old file because it's my old standard core cards, and I haven't updated the file, and over the years it's just gotten old and it runs slow for some reason. Bit rot or whatever it's called. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, got that one. And the King of Clubs. There we go. Let's put the sunglasses on these bad boys. First of all, I know that I'm going to delete the mustaches. So let's delete the mustaches. Let's go to the King of Spades. Let's grab, let me see, is this black the same? I don't think it is. Nope. Path, offset. I'm going to change this black. Okay, copy. Paste. Paste. Edit. Transform. Reflect. Okay. Put those in the right spot. Now let's go. Let's change this gradient. Let's try purple. Ooh, I like that. Let's give him mustache. Nice Tom Selleck on his old upper lip. Like a rock, strong as I can be, like a rock. Oh, look at that majestic stash. Look at it. Look at it. Let's go in here and take some of this nose out. Why are you being like that? There we go. Close that little bit up. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, I don't know if it gets... That's awesome. Reflect it. Bow. Clean this nose up. Look at it, people. Look at it. Come here. Let's go over here. We're going to do this. Bow. 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 Lightning bolt. Lightning bolt. Oh, look at it. Bask in all of its glory. Whew, this file is annoying. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's copy these glasses and the mustache. Let's put a mustache on one of the queens. Boosh. Yes, that's what we want. That is what we want. Let's give her some super lipstick. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Let's see here. Let's go. Let's see what yellow looks like. Bam. Yellow gradient. Oh, man. That's delicious. Let's get the lipstick and the glasses. Let's rotate those guys. Bam. Take that. Send it to the back. Daily Noob, the template you're using with perfect borders. With perfect borders you're on, can I find that online, or is that a skill I need to figure out on my own? Only templates I've found very basic. Nate Martin, I'm going to do you a solid, man. Let's do this. Let's go to my template file. Where are you at? Templates, 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 templates. templates. All right, I need to get the right one. Let's see, date modified. Because I don't want to give you this one because, as you can tell, well, you may not be able to tell, but I can tell that it is not working correctly and it's slowing up. Well, where is it? There's a new playing card die. Let's see if this is the right one. Yep, this is not the right one. So I can tell because the way it is performing. See, when I try, this is a little thing, but like, see how when I zoom in and out, it's a choppy zoom in and zoom out? That's no good. You may not be able to tell it, but I can tell it. So I made another one that it cleaned it up. Where did I put that? Oh, here it is. New card, new playing card die. See, with this one, I can zoom in nice and smooth. It's not choppy. This is the one you want. So we'll do this. We'll go, I'm going to get these access points. We'll just call these symmetry lines. I'm going to paste that on the symmetry lines layer. I'm going to make that, make this like a pink color. Symmetry lines. Good. Here's the die line. Okay. Save. We'll do this. 2021 playing card template. Save. Let's go back to the Dropbox, open, copy Dropbox link, boom. I'm going to come over in the chat, shabam. There you go. There's the link for that template. You're welcome. Merry Christmas. There we go. Let's go back. Where are we at? Oh, you're not supposed to see that. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, Kenneth wouldn't have shown up for anything. That douchebag. He's so unreliable. Okay. Okay. Let's get back to this. All right, what are we going to do? Let's give this Jack some different sunglasses. He seems like he's got a little bit of an attitude. We're going to give him some different sunglasses. We're going to give him some like those really thin. I don't know, we'll see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Gosh, I hate this file. I can't zoom in or anything. All right, let's go with the neon green. Oops. Why is that gradient? There we go. Let's go a little bit lighter with that green. All right, let's do, what is this, black? Oops. Put a black stroke on it. Do I make smaller pips? Most of my pips are large pips close to the edge. I do. Actually, the Federal 52, let's see, the Federal 52 decks, they're pretty small. Turn the light on so you can see. These are pretty small. They're pretty small pips. So yes, to your question. Okay, put that up. Okay, object, path, outline, stroke. Oops. All right, now I'm going to put the little reflection lines in it. So I'm just going to make me a rectangle, slant it over, fill it with white. I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to shrink it a little bit. Oops. Come on, Robinson. Shrink it a little bit like that. Now I can take this part, copy, paste, and then do a Boolean operation. Same thing with this. Boolean operation. Select these. Make those white. Bam. Oops. What the heck? Oh, there we go. Look at that guy. We're going to give this guy a super sleazy, really small mustache. I feel like this guy's a jerk. His name is probably Tommy. Sorry if your name's Tommy. Sweep the legs, Johnny. Sweep the legs. Oh my goodness. Look how amazing he is. You know what? We're going to take it one step further. Watch this, people. Oh, this is going to be amazing. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh goodness. People, you just don't realize. Give him some Marlboro. Give him a Marlboro. He looks like he'd give you a sweet deal on a car. Yes. Yes, he does. Go away. There we go. Boom. Boom. Path, outline, stroke. Select these. Merge. Oops. Merge. hate when it does this. Bonk. Come on. Come on. Please. Please don't even. That's awesome. Okay. Let's make sure we get all this junk. Copy, copy, copy. Is that it? Yes. Copy. I'm not copying. I just need to rotate it. Oh, God, this file. I'm done. I'm not going to use this file. I got to remake this file later. I want to rotate it. People, if this doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. Okay. Control S. Let me see here. Let me just delete this layer. Jack, Queen, King. All right, good. Let's see. Have I done the diamonds yet? I don't think I've done the diamonds. Nope. 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 Oops. Come back over here. Put a motor. I didn't put a. What I should do is put one of those big old brick phones. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do, people. We're gonna put one of those big brick phones. Control S. All right, let me see. Always get referenced when you need to. Let's see. Brick cell phone. Oh, yes. 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 It was $600. That's ridiculous. Copy image. Paste. Where'd it go? It's huge. Okay. Just relax. Just relax. Oh my goodness, this file is so slow. All right, I'm going to put that right here so I can see it. You get design credit. Okay, fine. All right, let's see. I'm gonna delete this diamond because I'm gonna delete it anyways. Okay, I'm gonna build it up here first. So let's go. Need to extend the corners. Okay. Looking good. Oops. What's going on right here? Something's not right. Excuse me. this file. It's like I can't zoom in, I can't zoom out. All right, what is this? It's got a, like a screen there. I kind of have to generalize some stuff. So let's put the antenna on it first. Do 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 do. Okay. Let's do this. Take this and that. Take the outside. That sun-bleached beige color. Well, crap. A little more white. There we go. All right, how are we going to do these buttons? Let's see here. Let's just do a shh. It's going to have to be pretty stylized. It's going to be very small. Go 0.5. That'll work. Close enough for government work. Do 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 do. Excuse me. I don't have enough room to do all the keys here. So I just kind of have to generalize. It's going to be really small anyways. Yes, I know. It's not the same number of keys, Jackson. Oh my goodness, I'm going to burn this file. I'm going to burn this file with fire. That looks so bad, but it's great. I feel like I need to just move this. I need to move this corner down just a little bit. And this one back a wee bit. And then I will put a circle. Looks so bad, it's gorgeous. Remember the ones that had like the little spiral, the ones that were like in a little bag box you put in your car, and they had a little spiral. Oh, those were awesome. My grandmother had one of those. I thought she was awesome. Yo, Dookie, what's up? What you doing, dog? Let's make it a little bit bigger. Boom, 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 boom. I need to change to black. Black is always wrong. There we go. I'm going to cut this out right here. But I can't see it. What is that? It's so stupid. I put his thumb in front when it's. This is totally not right. It is totally incorrect. What was I doing? Let me go back. His index, his fingers should be in front, not his thumb. Doofus. Oh, I know I could do it easier. I could just make a big white shape like this. Now I need to cut his thumb off. That's what I should have done. Oops. Cut his finger. There we go. There. That's better. Control S. All right, let's take the glasses, rotate them over. Okay. Let's take the phone and that white layer. The phone and the white layer. Rotate it over. Send it to the back. And you cut this part off again. Boom, ba, ba, boom. Okay, got that, got that, got that. Looking good. Delete these indexes. Okay, let's go to the queen. Delete those, delete those. Make these big. Oh, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna give this guy like a James Hetfield, circa 1989 Fu Manchu. Oh my goodness gracious. Shut your face. Shut it right now. That's awesome. Oh my dear Lord, that's amazing. Come back. There we go. Look at all of its glory. Look at it. Look at it. Oh my goodness. That's the most epic stash I've ever drawn. Let's go like this. think I actually like it more. It's more sleazy without the soul patch. It's like that part in Super Troopers. Dear Mother of God. Control S. 10 out of 10, this jack is going to hit on my sister in front of me. Absolutely, he's going to. All right. Oh, do 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 do. Come on. Select. Oops. White Rain hairspray. Kenneth Wayne Preston. Go away. Stop it. Why isn't this working? Go. 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 Excuse me. Digging up my white snake. I love white snake. Stroke. I know it's not white snake. It's Billy Squire. Let's see. Stroke me. Is that Billy Squire? Stroke me. Stroke me, Billy Squire. Stroke. Come on. Zoom out. I'm going to Control Z this before I lose it. I'm going to do 0.05. Let's see, 0.5. I guess not. Dash. Gap. There we go. Let's Let's do 1.5. Maybe 2. 2. Perfect. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Let's make this yellow. Oh, crap. I gotta do it all over again. Was it 3? Was it 1? Gap. 2. Stroke size. Stroke mills and rock mill. Yes. Copy. Paste. Oops. Forgot to get the boom. Boom. Why are you being this way? This file has given me so much trouble. I gotta clean it up. Kenneth might outsell Fed 52. That's funny. Hey, I wish Kenneth all the success. I wish him all the success in his endeavors. May he be fruitful and conquer the world. Oh my goodness. Bro, Kenneth lives in his Trans Am. He doesn't even have a trailer. And have I spent too long on this necklace? Absolutely. But it's pretty sweet. Good idea, by the way. Whoever did that, whoever said that. Oh my goodness, look at that. Excuse me. Okay, let me just get all this junk. Make sure I have it all. Boom. Fix her lipstick down here. That's pretty awesome. Okay. Control S. Excuse me. Opening. All right, people. First week done. First week of Dawn's Early Light in the bag. Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it. Thanks for hanging with me this week. I will be back on Monday with Dawn's Early Light 6. I will not have a Dawn's Early Light on Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to get me some rest. So I'll be back on Monday at 5 a.m. for Monday's Dawn's Early Light. Have a great weekend. Be safe. You guys are awesome. Happy New Year. Let's have a great 2021. I wish you guys luck and prosperity in all of your endeavors. Be well, my friend. This is the way. See you guys.